Aim is the weak-ass priestess of a dying kingdom known as Eyes. As a child, Aim had grand illusions about becoming a strong warrior and using a holy weapon known as the Giga Road. However, now Aim is nothing more than a loser who travels around with other worthless side characters. Their huge ass truck travels in a desolate land because years ago the world was invaded by parasitic creatures known as Shinobi. They traveled through an asteroid and destroyed everything. As Aim cluelessly sits around, she recalls how her own mother died at the hands of the Shinobi. In her final moments, Aim's mother gave her daughter a special family heirloom, and then gave her worthless life advice. Aim's mother wanted her daughter to save their kingdom, and these were her final words before the Shinobi ripped her apart. However, Aim turned out to be an embarrassment, and her mother died for a worthless daughter. Aim wakes up from her edgy dream and quickly tells Sanda, a Giga Chad working for her, to quickly stop their giant ass truck. Aim can sense the presence of the Shinobi nearby. She also notices a group of people gathered around doing something really messed up to a small girl. Sanda explains that sometimes people like to offer human sacrifices to the Shinobi so that the monsters can leave them alone. Aim does not stand for this shit, and she quickly tells the people to stop their redneck behavior. The village chief pulls up as well and tells Aim that the sacrifice will not be stopped because his people need to survive. Meanwhile, Sanda gears up Aim's shield so that she can fight the incoming dangerous Shinobi. He is also assisted by 3 little girls, Rin, Yusu and Ere, who seem too young for shit like this, but the old man might be a little freaky. Things escalate when the chief threatens to shoot up Aim, but it is already too late for this idiot. Aim gets a warning from her family heirloom, and she quickly tells Sanda to prepare her shield. The old ass man pulls up in a mesh suit, and even the people of the village are surprised to see this weapon. However, everyone turns their attention towards the Shinobi that materializes into the sky. The creepy thing starts sniffing the little child like Diddy and gets ready to devour the tasty sacrifice. But Sanda pulls up with his mech and starts shooting the monster like the Giga Chad that he is. The Shinobi falls back, but it is still not dead yet. Aim also gears up and quickly gets inside her own mech. By the time she arrives on the scene, Sanda has already taken care of the Shinobi, but another one materializes out of nowhere and starts feasting on the humans. Aim quickly springs into action and uses her mech to slice into the Shinobi. She then tells Sanda to provide some assistance, and he shoots the monster down. Aim then frees the little girl before she gets turned into monster diarrhea, and the villagers are safe for now. However, Aim can still sense the presence of Shinobi deep within the valley, and she turns her mech into a vehicle to investigate the ominous aura. Deep within the mountains, Aim's sense of danger is rapidly increasing. She then comes across slaughtered Shinobi bodies and the scent of human blood. All of a sudden, a giant-ass miasma bursts through the rock walls, and Aim realizes that this is a cluster of Shinobi. The monsters have all intertwined with each other and have turned into a disgusting ball of blood and shit. Aim is really losing aura points because she isn't doing anything. She just watches in amazement as the cluster of Shinobi gets attacked by a mysterious boy. This dude has white hair, so he's definitely going to be up, but right now he looks like shit. The boy has been fighting the Shinobi cluster on his own, and he is quickly losing steam. He seems to have blades protruding from his arms, and he uses them to violently thrash around and kill the monsters. Aim watches as the boy falls to the ground from his wounds, and the Shinobi get ready to destroy him for good. The boy loses all of his aura points as Aim has to save his ass. She slices through the monsters with her mech blade and desperately tries to look like a badass, but fails miserably. Aim gets completely overtaken by the Shinobi, and in her final moments she recalls how her own mother died. Aim starts crying like a little girl, but the mysterious boy kills the Shinobi and saves her. For the first time, Aim can see the boy's face clearly, and he looks like a complete Rizzler. The boy decides to aura farm, and he takes on the Shinobi once more, but the monster decides to run towards the village. The boy follows the monster, and Aim also warns Sanda about the incoming danger. Sanda may be a Giga Chad, but he is still slow as hell, and the monster rushes past him. The Shinobi heads straight for the village and starts terrorizing the remaining people. Thankfully, the mysterious boy has arrived as well, and he quickly latches on to the Shinobi and starts hacking away at its body. The boy gets gravely wounded in the process, but he never lets go. In the end, the Shinobi receives a crushing blow to its chest, and it finally dies. The mysterious boy, on the other hand, falls to the ground unconscious, and all the black bits on his arms and face start falling away. This shit is gross as hell, and even the villagers are terrified, but Aim has been rizzed up. She quickly unties her hair and uses the band to stop the boy's bleeding. While Aim tries to help out her future boyfriend, a rock flies towards them and hits the white-haired boy. The villagers start looking around awkwardly, but Aim knows that these idiots are complete losers who don't like the boy. She starts yelling at the villagers because the boy literally saved their asses, but she might as well be yelling at the wind. Once the matter has been settled, Aim still has the decency to leave food and supplies for the villagers. She tells the village chief that the supplies are not going to last very long, but she does intend to come back. She also wants to make sure that the little girl is not offered up like a fresh piece of meat, and if the girl is missing on Aim's next visit, then the chief will have to pay. Aim tells the little girl to be safe, and then she sets off on her journey once more. The other girls in the truck are suspicious of the white-haired guy who Aim has taken in as well. They wonder if the priestess has made the right choice, but that doesn't matter. Even with his eyes closed and his body injured, the boy is rizzing up the other girls because they think he's handsome as hell. After some time, the boy finally wakes up, but he scares the hell out of the girls in the room. He can only stand up for a second before falling back to the ground like a maidenless idiot. Aim arrives on the scene as well and orders the other girls to give the boy some food. In a matter of seconds, the boy is scarfing down rice balls like a pig. The girls are impressed by his appetite, but the boy loses all aura when he starts choking on his food. After gaining some of his strength back, the boy finds Sanda setting up Shinobi repellent devices near the truck. He has never seen such technology before, and even Sanda has no idea how this shit works, but it is effective. Sanda then tells the boy that he should formally introduce himself to Aim since she was so worried about him. Sanda definitely knows what he's doing by setting up the two lovebirds. The boy finds Aim standing on top of a cliff in an ethereal white dress. She looks beautiful, and the boy can't stop staring at her like a creep. He then decides to climb the cliff as well, but the dude has no aura because the second Aim sees the little creep. She starts covering herself up. Aim apologizes to the boy for the overreaction. She explains that no one has ever seen her like that before. Aim then asks the boy if he's feeling better, and the little turd is grateful for the hospitality. He then gives Aim her ribbon back, but the girl refuses to take it. Aim starts using her own riz and moves closer to the boy so that she can tie the ribbon around his wound. Clearly, he is still injured and in a great deal of pain. The night quickly takes an interesting turn as Aim and the boy walk back together. The boy introduces himself as Siwoo, which greatly piques Aim's interest. She moves close to him again and carefully examines his face. Siwoo gets startled and moves back, but Aim is right in his face. She believes that Siwoo is a Yajuwu, a legendary warrior who can defeat the Shinobi. Aim does not waste a second and asks Siwoo if he will fight alongside her. The girl explains that her kingdom was destroyed by the Shinobi, and now it is her mission to destroy every single parasite that plagues the earth. Only then will Aim find peace in her life, but she needs the help of someone like Siwoo. Aim gets even more charged up and violently grabs onto Siwoo to show how desperate she is. Aim really needs his help and even offers to give Siwoo anything that he wants. While the offer might be enticing, the boy has no reaction. Aim quickly lets go of Siwoo once she realizes how insane she is being. To make matters worse, Aim gets brutally rejected by Siwoo. The boy does not think that he is strong enough for such a monumental task, and he runs away like a cringe-weeb. Aim is left upset by this rejection, and she goes back to the truck. Sanda informs her that Siwoo did not return, which does not come as a surprise to the girl. Aim and Sanda sit down for a little chat, and they talk about Siwoo being a Yajuwu. As an old-timer, Sanda remembers there being a lot of pure-blooded Yajuwu, but all of them got wiped out. However, it seems like Siwoo somehow managed to survive, and he may be the only Yajuwu left in the world. According to Sanda, the Yajuwu were created by humans as weapons against the Shinobi, but they were too powerful and ugly. So, the humans decided to destroy their own creation, and they persecuted the Yajuwu. Hearing all of this makes Aim feel bad, and she wonders if the Yajuwu hate human beings. Sanda reminds her that Siwoo did not react when the villagers threw a rock at him, so maybe he's just a special kind of idiot. The painful conversation comes to an end, and the night quickly turns into day. Sanda and Aim are surprised to find Siwoo waiting for them outside of the truck like a puppy. He removed all of the Shinobi repellents because the boy thinks he can take on any monster that dares to attack them. Aim is a little confused, but it seems like Siwoo has decided to accompany the priestess on her journey. All of a sudden, he is grateful that Aim saved him, and he is willing to spend the rest of his life looking after a spoiled brat who failed to save her kingdom. Aim is thrilled at this news, and she quickly grabs onto Siwoo's hands and starts glazing him up like crazy. Aim passionately tells Siwoo that he is not a monster because of the color of his eyes. Siwoo has blue eyes, and that also used to be the color of the sky before the Shinobi attacked. Aim believes that this is a sign that Suwoo is not a bad person, but someone destined to save everyone. The glazing is just too much and Suwoo turns away from Aim. This ends up making Yuzu really pissed off because she might have a thing for the priestess. For the first time there is lively bickering between Aim and the others, and even Sanda takes note of this. After settling the matter, Sanda gives Suwoo his old uniform so that he can look like he belongs. The outfit fits the boy perfectly and his riz only skyrockets because Aim can't stop staring at him. Once Suwoo has been initiated into the group, Aim informs him that they are headed towards the Old Land. According to Aim's intel, the Old Land used to be a proper city, but it got hit by an asteroid which triggered the Shinobi disaster. Now the place is treacherous and filled with all manner of dangers. It is constantly surrounded by a huge sandstorm and all access has been blocked off. Aim believes that the holy weapon Giger Road is located somewhere in the Old Land. This weapon can eradicate the Shinobi for good and it is incredibly powerful. Even Aim's family heirloom is said to be the key to using the holy weapon. This is why it is important for the priestess to venture deep into the Old Land and reclaim her destiny. As luck would have it, Suwoo may know of a secret location that leads to the Old Land. In the village where he grew up, people constantly talked about how the Old Land was a sacred place where everything started, and there is a road that leads to the main city. Aim decides to trust Suwoo's information, and the group embark on their intense journey. Suwoo leads Aim and Sanda to the road which is supposed to take them to the Old Land. Sanda has reservations about this location, but they have no choice but to follow the dangerous path. Aim and Sanda both use their mechas to navigate the area. Meanwhile, Suwoo travels on foot. The small group gets attacked by a shinobi, which is quickly disposed of by Suwoo and the others. As they continue their journey, Sanda can't help but be impressed by how resilient a Yajuwu can be. Suwoo is completely unaffected by the raging sandstorm and the monsters lurking in the shadows. Even Aim praises Suwoo for his strength, but things quickly fall apart when the mech suits start malfunctioning. Aim and Sanda struggle to move around in their mechas, but they still continue to move forward. They come across a desolate field littered with deteriorating mech suits. It seems like people tried to reach the Old Land before, but they all failed. Sanda believes that this is the work of beryllium, a substance that can cause the engines of mech suits to disintegrate, and in concentrated doses. It can be lethal for humans as well. Aim is clearly being affected by the beryllium, and she slowly starts to lose her shit, while the rest of the party look after the truck. Sanda is desperately trying to stop Aim from continuing down the dangerous road, but the girl just won't stop. Both of their mechas are slowly losing their mobility, and even Sanda is being affected by the beryllium, but Aim's stupid ass only wants to follow Suwoo. The boy, on the other hand, is completely oblivious to the chaos happening behind him, and it takes him a long-ass time to look back and realize that Aim and Sanda are no longer moving. In a strange turn of events, Suwoo also notices that Sanda and Aim have been surrounded by other armored mechas. Even the girls back on the truck have been arrested by the armed forces, and the entire group is rounded up and taken somewhere else. The journey towards the Old Land is cut short, and after a long time Aim wakes up in a strange new location. Aim can recognize the place as Tori Castle. This small yet bustling castle is situated on the outskirts of a desolate land. It is brimming with human activity and life, even though the so-called castle is just the remains of a large ship. Aim's moment of solitude is then interrupted by the captain of the castle, Hashiba Hinata, who apologizes for startling the girl. The captain wants Aim to meet someone important, and he escorts her to the secret location. Hashiba is actually impressed by Aim's determination to cross the treacherous road. She would have been poisoned by the beryllium if the castle's forces did not save her and the others. Hashiba assures Aim that her companions are okay as well, and then he leads her towards an underground facility. This place is structured like an old Japanese house with a peaceful garden. Aim is led to the leader of the castle, a young man named Shin Kazusa. He is already aware that Aim is the priestess of the Eye's kingdom, and that her home was destroyed by the shinobi. Shin also confesses that he has taken possession of Aim's family heirloom. Hearing this makes Aim panic because the heirloom is her only connection to her family. She begs Shin to give it back, but the man does not want such a dangerous relic being carried around in his castle. Aim is slowly losing her patience dealing with such an annoying guy. She explains that the heirloom belongs to her dead mother, and that it is her responsibility to use the holy weapon. Shin doesn't care at all about Aim's sob story. His rigid personality only makes Aim more frustrated, and she loses all aura by begging. The girl even moves towards Shin to force his hand, but the guy quickly shows Aim her place. He completely obliterates Aim by calling her a useless priestess who belongs in the kitchen. Aim can only stare with her mouth open as Shin keeps on mocking. She has no choice but to accept this outcome, otherwise Shin cannot guarantee the safety of her companions. Aim wonders if Shin plans on using the heirloom, but without the High Priestess, the key will remain dormant. For now, Shin has no plans of giving back the key or using it, which means that he is letting all of humanity suffer. Aim tries to guilt-trip Shin about his decision for gatekeeping such a powerful tool. The holy weapon holds the power to destroy all of the Shinobi and finally save this dying world, but Shin does not care. Shin calls Aim pathetic for relying on a powerful weapon. He adds salt to the wound by mentioning that Aim couldn't protect her kingdom using her own strength. This hits like a truck and Aim starts to falter. The conversation comes to an end and Aim is escorted back to her companions by Shin. On the way, the priestess recalls how eager she was to find the holy weapon as a child and how her master encouraged her to help people. Aim now feels like a complete failure and she falls to the ground from the grim realization. Siwoo is lurking nearby as well, and he watches like a hawk as Shin wonders what's wrong with Aim. Shin kneels down and reaches down to help Aim, but before his Riz can hypnotize the priestess, Siwoo steps in. He quickly pushes Shin's arm away and he grabs onto Aim in a protective manner. Aim turns into a completely helpless damsel in the midst of the two Rizzlers. Shin takes note of Siwoo's blue eyes and white hair, and he quickly realizes that this kid is a Yajuwu. Shin then grabs onto the boy and threatens to kill him, but this is only a warning. Shin wants Siwoo to realize that Aim is too weak to do anything, and that he should choose his next steps carefully. Shin lets go of the boy and leaves the two lovers alone. He no longer cares about whether they stay or leave, he just wants them out of his sight. Before leaving, Shin informs Aim that he has no problem with abandoning the castle and starting a new one if things take a turn for the worse. In fact, Shin truly believes that a time is coming where humans will be able to fight the Shinobi without the help of holy weapons. The words linger in the air as Shin leaves with Hashiba. Siwoo helps Aim get back up, and she apologizes to him for the trouble. In front of Siwoo, Aim literally loses all of her aura and she turns into a helpless maiden. The boy pats Aim's head and the two head off to find the rest of their friends. Sanda and the girls are all pleased to see that Aim and Suze are completely fine. After reuniting with the group, Aim informs Sanda about Shin taking the heirloom. The old man kneels down and starts apologizing for not protecting the priestess and the heirloom. Before Sanda can embarrass himself further, the priestess stops him. Aim at least has the self-awareness to realize that she is the one who screwed everything up. This entire time Aim has been looking for the holy weapon for her own selfish reasons. She also forced Sanda and Siwoo to cross the dangerous sandstorm, and now they no longer have the heirloom and they have no way to get to the old land. But Sanda tries to comfort her. Like a trusty old guard, Sanda promises to always stand by Ames, even when she screws things up. Hearing this makes the priestess even more remorseful, and she runs away. Siwoo tries to go after her, but he gets stopped by Sanda. The old man challenges Siwoo to a duel because he wants to see how well the young boy can protect the priestess. He is aware that Yajuwu are incredibly strong, and they never let any emotions interfere during a fight. This is why Sanda wants to see whether Siwoo has a firm heart as well. However, despite dodging most of Sanda's attacks, Siwoo lacks any real strength. Sanda realizes that Siwoo must strengthen his heart in order to grow more powerful. The old man completely overtakes the Yajuwu and almost hits him with the sword. If Siwoo plans on protecting Aim, then he needs to prove his worth. Only then will Siwoo be able to understand Aim and her mission. While Siwoo heads out to find Aim, Shin has a meeting with his uncle Taogi, the lord of the castle. Taogi is a crusty old man who is pissed off that Shin went behind his back and had a meeting with Aim. Taogi reminds Shin that the Priestess of Eyes and the holy weapons are powerful connections that must be exploited. Shin makes it clear to the old lord that he does not want to use the holy weapon under any circumstances, but Taogi is the one who runs the show. He orders Shin to arrange a meeting between him and Priestess Aim. The young man does not like the idea of this creepy old guy meeting with the priestess, but he has no choice. In another part of the castle, Aim is standing alone in the rain, but Siwoo quickly finds her. The girl is in no mood to share her feelings and Siwoo has to force her out of the rain. They find a shelter and Siwoo tries to dry himself like a dog. When he notices that Aim is soaking wet as well, he offers his cape to the priestess. Aim rejects the offer, but she still takes the cape and starts using it to dry out Siwoo's hair. While the two cringe teenagers are having their moment, Shin and Hashiba must decide their next move. Shin realizes that he was foolish for thinking he had everything under control. He needs to make sure that Taugi does not meet Aim under any circumstances. Shin plans to escape the castle with the priestess if things become dire. Meanwhile, Aim apologizes to Siwoo for causing so much trouble. She holds herself a pity party for always dragging others into her shit. Aim does not understand why Sanda and the others choose to follow her. She views herself as a complete failure, and if she doesn't get the holy weapon, then all of her efforts will be pointless. Aim breaks down crying and Siwoo has to comfort her like the baby that she is. At first, Aim pretends to be annoyed, but secretly she enjoys being hugged by Siwoo. The boy then turns up his Riz factor and tells Aim that he likes to see her smile. He assures Aim that he will stay by her side, even if she does turn out to be a loser. Aim is taken aback by these words, and she stupidly tries to confess her feelings, but thankfully the rain stops. As the clouds over the castle fade away, life returns to normal and people start to enjoy the fresh air. When Siwoo sees all the carefree people around, he grabs onto Aim and carries her on his shoulder. The girl screams for him to let go, but Siwoo is determined to make Aim feel happy. Siwoo runs through the castle with Aim on her shoulder, and when they see the sunset, Aim can't help but marvel at the beautiful scene. Siwoo continues to make a ruckus in the castle, and then he makes the awkward mistake of staring at Aim while carrying her around. The two end up slipping and Aim conveniently falls over Siwoo. She is a little embarrassed, but also thrilled by the events that have transpired. Aim starts to laugh and Siwoo takes things up a notch by placing his hand on her face. The priestess does not shy away from the moment. In fact, Aim informs Siwoo that she is going to speak to Shin once more and try to get her heirloom back. Siwoo decides to go with her as well, but the two get interrupted by the guards of the castle. They want to detain Aim on the orders given by Taugi. Aim resists the arrests and the guards try to grab her, but they get stopped by Siwoo. The boy pins the captain of the guards to the ground and threatens to stab him with a sword. Before things can escalate, Hashiba arrives on the scene and breaks up the fight. He apologizes to Aim for the disrespect and promises to deal with the stupid guard. For now, Hashiba wants Aim and Siwoo to come with him. He explains the entire situation and how Taugi wishes to bring the holy weapon to the castle with the help of the priestess. However, since Shin is against this plan of action, he wants Aim and her companions to leave Tori as soon as possible. Upon hearing how dire the situation is, Aim wishes to meet with Shin. According to Hashiba, Shin is going to be leaving Tori to fight in a battle with the rest of his unit on the outskirts of the castle. This unit has already come across a strange Shinobi monster on the battlefield, and they also have to deal with Taugi's forces. Aim and Siwoo quickly spring into action in the hopes of finding Shin. Meanwhile, Sanda captures a spy sent by Taugi, and when the other girls arrive on the scene, they are left completely confused. Sanda explains that the spy killed himself before he could answer any questions. He has heard rumor of a special force that wants Taugi to become king of the castle, although he is not aware of the precise reasoning behind this rebellion. Aim and Siwoo also end up finding Shin right before he heads out for battle. As Shin gears up to ride towards his inevitable doom, Siwoo stops the man and encourages him to speak to Aim. This time Aim is determined to get the heirloom back. Shin reluctantly hears out the priestess and he low-key regrets not killing her. Shin once again reminds Aim that he cannot guarantee her safety if she continues to look for the holy weapon, and he refuses to change his mind. However, Aim has an entire speech prepared for the occasion. She admits to not liking Tori because she always viewed the kingdom as a land of barbarians who are always expanding their territory. It was only after witnessing the people of the land herself that Aim realized that Tori is a special place that deserves to be protected. The priestess cannot just give up on her mission, and she truly believes that the holy weapon can be used to save the people of Tori as well. Aim assures Shin that she is still on his side and that one day humans will be able to fight the Shinobi using their own strength, but they still need the holy weapon. Shin is obviously not impressed by the speech, and he offers to give back the heirloom if Aim can kill him. Shin is ready to draw out his sword and Siwoo steps up to meet his blade. Once again, Aim just watches on helplessly as her trusted guard does all the fighting for her. Shin and Siwoo are evenly matched, but the boy can tell that Shin is much more experienced. Despite his own shortcomings, Siwoo is ready to fight so that Aim's path to her destiny is clear. These are precisely the words that Shin wants to hear, and the two clash swords in a swirl of speed and power. Siwoo manages to hold up quite well, but it is clear that Shin is not even using 1% of his powers. After letting the poor boy think that he stands a chance, Shin uses a bit more force, and he breaks Siwoo's sword into tiny pieces. The boy falls back in pain, and he watches helplessly as Shin rushes forward to kill him for good. All of a sudden, Siwoo remembers the little bit of training he had with Sanda, and how the old man told him that losing is not an option. At the last moment, Siwoo manages to stab Shin in the shoulder, and he mortally wounds him. Shin has no choice but to fall back because he is starting to lose blood. Aim offers to help him out, but the guy is just too arrogant. Shin is ready to accept his demise and give up the fight, but Aim talks some sense into him. She tells him not to give up since the future of Tori depends on his ideals and survival. For a moment Shin seems moved by the words, but the moment is ruined by Hashiba warning the others of an incoming Shinobi attack. Everyone turns their attention towards the arrival of an army of Shinobi, who are destroying everything in their path. The castle's own defense mechanism desperately try to take down the gigantic ship accompanying the Shinobi, but it is of no use. In a brief moment Aim recognizes the crest of the Shinobi ship. It is the crest of her own ill-fated kingdom. Hashiba informs Aim that the Eye's castle was completely overtaken by the Shinobi, and it is now being used as a flying fortress. Aim has no idea how the entire castle got moved and who is controlling it, but the small details don't matter now. The Shinobi attack is only ramping up, and the castle is critically hit in several places as people flee for their lives. In a twisted turn of events, Aim recognizes the voice of the person controlling the castle. The voice belongs to Tsukiyomi, Aim's old master who encouraged her to seek out the holy weapon. Aim is sick to her stomach when she learns about this betrayal. She thought her master perished with the rest of the kingdom. It turns out that Tsukiyomi integrated with the Shinobi, and he has been keeping an eye on Aim this entire time like a creep. Tsukiyomi reveals that thanks to Aim running away from her kingdom like a coward, he was able to take over the entire place and fuse with the Shinobi. Now Tsukiyomi intends on completing his mission of exterminating every last human being from the planet. Hearing about this insane plan confuses the hell out of Aim and the others. They have no idea what Tsukiyomi is yapping about, but it is clear that he wants Aim to join him. The madman offers Aim a life of power and immortality, but the priestess refuses. Tsukiyomi has no choice but to resort to violence, and he uses a shinobi arm attached to his back to violently grab the priestess. Tsukiyomi wants Aim to give him the heirloom that serves as a key for the holy weapon. Aim actually tells the truth and informs her master that she does not have it, but Tsukiyomi does not believe her, and he continues to torture the priestess. Siwoo cannot stand to watch as Aim squirms around with pain. Even Shin decides to reveal that he is in possession of the heirloom so that Tsukiyomi will stop, but it is already too late. As Tsukiyomi continues Aim's suffering, his shinobi arm gets sliced into two pieces by a strange-looking creature. This is Siwoo's true form as a Yajuo. Aim watches on as Siwoo unleashes his berserk mode and starts tearing apart Tsukiyomi. Before Siwoo completely rips apart Tsukiyomi, the Mad Master uses his own weapon to dispel the attack, and then everything fades to black. After some time, Siwoo wakes up in a medical room in Tori. Yuzu, Rin, and the others have been patiently waiting for the boy to wake up again. Siwoo has no idea how he got there, but he only cares about learning what happened to Aim. The girls reveal that Aim is heading to the old land with Sanda. She has decided to make the journey on her own, and upon hearing this, Siwoo tries to get back up, but he quickly collapses. Siwoo then recalls his fight with Tsukiyomi and how Aim tried to stop him. Yuzu reveals that because of Siwoo, they were able to defeat all of the shinobi sent by Tsukiyomi. Siwoo then looks at his arm, which is still stuck in his monstrous transformation, and he can't help but fall back in a sense of desperation. Meanwhile, Shin has also recovered from his wounds, and he is now preparing his men to fight a heated battle against the Eye's castle. The armed forces are not excited about the prospect of dying in yet another useless war, but Shin informs his men that the situation is dire. Aim and Sanda are headed towards the old land in the hopes of acquiring the holy weapon. Aim has received the heirloom back, and now she is determined to continue her mission. Tsukiyomi is also hot on their trail, and he is traveling to the old land as well with the corrupted Eye's castle. This means that it is up to Shin and his men to protect Aim and attack the Eye's castle. Shin motivates his men and prepares for war, while Aim and Sanda make it to the outskirts of the old land. Thankfully, this time there is no ravaging sandstorm and the duo head towards the location in their mesh suits. They traverse the rugged land once more, but this time things are a lot smoother. There is no beryllium in the air, and the road ahead seems clear. As Aim continues her journey, she recalls her prior meeting with Shin before heading towards the old land. She made the decision to leave Siwoo and the girls at the Tori castle so that they can stay safe. Shin has no objections to this decision, and he also informs Aim that ever since she tried to cross the sandstorm for the first time, it has completely disappeared. It seems like the holy weapon has been made aware of her presence, and it wants to reunite with the priestess. Shin wished AIM well for the journey ahead, and those were the final words they exchanged before parting ways. Now AIM is in the thick of it, and Sanda informs her that the old land is approaching quickly. Sanda and AIM can recognize Mount Fuji in the distance, a notable landmark from their kingdom. As they head deeper into the old land, AIM is surprised to find trees and beautiful flowers. For a moment she is filled with hope and the idea of a peaceful homeland where people don't have to starve. This dream quickly comes to an end when a huge Shinobi attacks the duo out of nowhere. Sanda urges AIM to move on because soon the place will be swarming with the monsters. These particular Shinobi are huge, and it doesn't take long for Sanda to get cornered by one of them. The monster tries to hit the old man's met, but Sanda dodges just in time. AIM is relieved to hear that Sanda is still okay, but the Giga Chad is ready for his last fight. Like an absolute legend, Sanda tells AIM that she must head towards the base of Mount Fuji where the holy weapon is located. He wants AIM to escape while he takes care of the Shinobi chasing them down. Sanda's aura is through the roof, and even AIM cannot argue with the old man. She heads towards the mountain while Sanda the Giga Chad decimates the monsters around him. Sanda is an absolute beast as he takes care of the Shinobi left and right. He tells AIM not to look back, but the priestess can tell that Sanda is quickly losing heat. In the distance, a bright light emanates from the mountain, and AIM knows that this is the holy weapon. Sanda can no longer move on, but he remains brave like a true soldier. He urges AIM to keep moving forward and to seize the power of the holy weapon. As the Shinobi get closer, AIM has no choice but to abandon Sanda. As she rushes towards the light, she hears an explosion which confirms Sanda's sacrifice has been made. AIM is completely devastated by the loss, but she doesn't falter. She continues to reach the holy weapon, but then her mech gets lifted into the air by a huge explosion. Back in Tori, Shin is also making his move and turning the entire castle into a huge ship. As Tori is moved towards the old land, Suwu is also hoping that AIM is safe, but she is not doing too well. The girl is thrown into the air, and she has to use a shield from her mech to safely land on the ground. Once AIM gets back on her feet, she is stunned to see the holy weapon before her. The grand Giga Road that AIM has always been dreaming about is now in her grasp. The holy weapon is actually a huge metal structure, and as AIM uses the heirloom to activate the weapon, the hunk of metal responds and offers her an unusual seat. AIM sits down and waits for the ship to give her more instructions, but Tsukiyomi has arrived on the scene as well. He is using the Corrupted Eyes castle to make his way towards the Giga Road as well. AIM starts panicking, and she continues to hope that the Giga Road will help her out. All of a sudden, several screens pop up in the air, and the Giga Road reveals a slot where the heirloom needs to be inserted. AIM quickly follows her instincts and figures it out as Tsukiyomi inches closer with his entire castle. The Giga Road is still not doing anything, and AIM starts praying to her mother for guidance. As soon as the words leave her mouth, a red spike appears through the seat and plunges into AIM's neck, slicing right through. The red spike releases something into AIM's body, and the entire world goes dark. Tsukiyomi thinks that AIM failed, and he starts laughing maniacally. Even though the loser did not gain access to the Giga Road, he still found a way into the heart of the old land. Now Tsukiyomi can build his own twisted world, and he starts to yap about his ideals, but AIM attacks him using her brand new Gundam. Seeing the Gundam makes Tsukiyomi shut the hell up, but he is excited to see how powerful the Giga Road is. AIM starts violently thrashing around in an effort to kill her old master. She unleashes a powerful attack to destroy the Corrupted Eyes castle, but the attack deflects and completely destroys the nearby forest. AIM realizes her mistake and decides to fight Tsukiyomi up close, but she has no idea how to actually control the weapon. This is precisely what Tsukiyomi was expecting because the Giga Road was built by humans. The machine has its own limitations, and AIM is clearly not ready to keep up with the demands. The Gundam is taking a toll on her body, and she is already exhausted from the fight. Tsukiyomi reveals that the Gundam is designed in a way that the pilot suffers at the expense of the machine. All of the overheating and limitations of the Giga Road are felt by the one who controls it, and for someone hot-headed like AIM, that is bad news. Shin has arrived on the scene as well, and he uses a smaller part of the castle as a mini airship. Tsukiyomi is eager to hear out what Shin has to say, but he does not plan on changing his original plan of exterminating all humans. AIM really thinks that a grand speech about ethics and morality is going to help her. She starts yapping about doing the right thing and saving people because everyone is trying to survive on this planet. AIM's speech only makes Tsukiyomi angrier, and he tries to attack her, but the Giga Road is programmed to protect the pilot. In the distance, Shin and Hashiba are assessing the situation as well. They plan on crashing their little ship into the core of the castle and then detonating it in the hopes of slowing down Tsukiyomi. Shin has also sensed the presence of Siwoo on board. The boy is not supposed to be there, but Shin understands that Siwoo is only trying to save AIM. He informs the boy of the plan and advises him to leave the ship as soon as it makes contact with the core. Meanwhile, AIM has to sit through Tsukiyomi's painful yap session, where he glazes the hell out of his new Shinobi abilities. He can regenerate his own body and sense every living being in his surroundings, which allows him a wealth of information. Tsukiyomi also reveals that the Shinobi have been using a giant core known as the Jet Matrix in order to multiply in number. This matrix allows the Shinobi to stay in power and to have enough energy to keep their numbers high. The Giga Road was actually being used to seal away the Jet Matrix, but now AIM's foolishness has unleashed this unstable core into the world. Hearing all of this makes AIM completely terrified because she basically started the end of the world by unleashing the Giga Road. Now Tsukiyomi's twisted plan can continue, and he excitedly looks forward to the birth of a new world. However, Tsukiyomi's plans are short-lived as Shin crashes the airship into the core. A huge explosion causes the entire structure to start collapsing. The ugly master can only panic as his generic villain plan is completely dissolved. Amidst the chaos, Siwoo also manages to find his way towards AIM, but the girl is quickly spiraling. AIM reveals that Sanda is dead, and that because of her the Jet Matrix created even more Shinobi. Once again, AIM takes pity on herself and starts whining about all the ways she messed up the plan. She believes that because of her Sanda needlessly lost his life, and she never should have been the Priestess of Eyes. Siwoo no longer wants to hear AIM constantly complaining, so he decides to move close to her. The Giga Road tries to stop the boy by piercing him with several spikes, but Siwoo does not falter. For the first time, Siwoo reveals his own emotions and how his entire life people have treated him like shit for being a Yajuwu. Siwoo has been feeling miserable for a long time, but AIM was the first person who showed him kindness. The Giga Road continues to pierce through Siwoo's body as he tries to move closer to AIM. The entire time the boy glazes AIM for being a true friend and for protecting him when everyone else only wanted him dead. AIM begs the Giga Road to stop hurting Siwoo, and by the time the boy reaches the priestess, he is completely wounded. Siwoo tells AIM not to worry, he only wishes to be with AIM forever and protect her no matter what. AIM cries out as Siwoo slowly loses consciousness in her arms, but things quickly escalate as the Giga Road pierces through the two lovers and absorbs them. This finally activates the Giga Road, and it springs into action like a raging beast. The Gundam flies towards Tsukiyomi and destroys every single Shinobi in its path. The Mad Master can only stare in horror as the Giga Road slices through his creations. Tsukiyomi has no idea how AIM managed to ignite the Giga Road to such an intense level, but she is bound to pay the price. The Giga Road is completely unstoppable, and Tsukiyomi starts preparing for the final phase of the battle as well. He has gathered all of the Shinobi in the old land and has turned them into some sort of a weird structure. Meanwhile, within the Giga Road, both AIM and Siwoo are working as one, and their combined powers are fueling the machine. Tsukiyomi really thinks that his pathetic Shinobi tower is going to give him an edge in the fight, but it doesn't take long for the Giga Road to blast through the twisted structure. Siwoo then tells AIM that they must target the core, otherwise the Shinobi will keep on respawning. With their combined efforts, the Giga Road pierces through the Shinobi tower and exposes the core of the Matrix Jet. Tsukiyomi is still yapping away and wondering where AIM got the power to ignite the Giga Road. As the villain continues to act completely dumb, the Giga Road starts thrashing around and quickly moves towards the core in an effort to destroy it before Tsukiyomi does something even more annoying. In her final moments, AIM does not hold back, and she tells Tsukiyomi that she is starting to believe in a world where humans can survive. Despite feeling so much pain, she is willing to hold on to this feeling in the hopes of changing the world for the better. The Giga Road grabs the core and pulls it out of the Matrix. In the chaos, everything gets blown into space, and the core is finally destroyed by the Giga Road. Shin and the others watch in awe as the sky lights up and a beautiful world is slowly revealed. Up in space, AIM and Siwoo are completely silent, and the Giga Road starts to make its descent towards the world. For now, this is the end of AIM's grueling battle against the Shinobi.